The night Aisha was born, Kunu village did not sleep. The wind came without warning. It shook the roofs of mud houses and rattled doors. Pots cracked in kitchens. Chickens cried loudly in their cages. Dogs barked and barked until people threw stones to silence them. Old women who lived near the Dunladi compound whispered that something unusual was about to happen. Inside the compound, Rahila was in labour. She was young, beautiful, and full of fear. Sweat rolled down her face as the midwife pressed her belly. The baby refused to come out easily. The midwife muttered that the child was stubborn, as if the unborn had a will of its own. At midnight, lightning split the sky, though no rain followed. At that exact moment, Aisha came into the world, with her eyes wide open. Babies usually cried first, but Aisha did not cry. She only stared around with calm, watchful eyes. The midwife gasped. "This child is not ordinary," she whispered. The rumour spread faster than fire in dry grass. Before dawn, the village had already given the newborn a name she did not deserve, Cursed Child. From the beginning, strange things happened around Aisha. When she was 2, the family goat ran wild any time she crawled close. When she was 3, plates slipped from shelves without anyone touching them. At 4, she sat under a tree, and every bird flew away at once. The villagers shook their heads. "Bad luck follows her," they said. Children were warned not to play near her. Mothers pulled their sons away when she passed. Rahila tried to protect her daughter, but the whispers grew louder. Even her husband, Baba Musa, listened too much to the words of his second wife, Zainab. Zainab was clever, proud, and hungry for power. She wanted her own children to inherit the Danladi wealth. She poisoned Baba Musa's mind, slowly, drop by drop. "Can't you see the signs?" she told him. "This girl will destroy us one day." By the time Aisha turned 7, Rahila was pushed out of the compound. Zainab became mistress of the house. Rahila left for Lagos, leaving her daughter behind with a heavy heart. She prayed every night that Aisha would survive. At school, Aisha had no friends. Children laughed at her, called her witch child and snake girl. 3 boys enjoyed making her life miserable. They pushed her, poured sand in her hair, and sometimes tore her books. One afternoon, after she had been bullied again, the teacher locked her alone in a classroom for her safety. But safety did not come. The boys stayed outside, kicking the wooden steps, daring her to come out. Then something strange happened. A hiss echoed through the compound. It was low, long, and heavy, the kind of sound that makes skin crawl. Children screamed and scattered. Teachers dropped their sticks and ran. Inside the classroom, Aisha sat frozen on the bench. From the corner, a massive shadow uncoiled. A giant python slid across the floor, its scales gleaming, its head swaying slowly. It stopped in front of her. Its black eye met hers. Aisha did not scream. She did not move. She felt a strange calm, as if she and the creature understood each other. After a long moment, the python turned and disappeared out the window. When the adults returned with sticks, the snake was gone. But the bullies had been frightened so badly they never touched Aisha again. The village did not forget. From that day, the story of Aisha and the python spread. Some said she controlled it. Others said she was the python. For Aisha, it was only another reason to be isolated. Years passed. Aisha grew into a quiet young woman. She helped with chores, kept to herself, and carried her pain in silence. She often dreamt of Lagos and the mother she barely knew. At night, she sometimes woke sweating, hearing the hiss in her dreams. Sometimes she saw herself in those dreams, not as a girl, but as something else long, scaled, powerful. She would wake shaking, but no one to confide in. By the time she turned 23, the whispers had become unbearable. Suitors avoided her. Friends did not last. Even some family members refused to eat food she touched. One evening, Aisha overheard Zainab speaking with her brothers. "She must not remain here," Zainab said. "She will ruin everything. If she runs away, let her go. If she dies on the road, even better." That night, Aisha made a decision. She packed a small bag and planned her escape to Lagos. She would find Rahila. She would start again. At dawn, she slipped out quietly and headed for the bus park. Her heart pounded with every step, afraid someone would stop her. When she finally climbed into the crowded bus heading south, she thought she was safe. But she was wrong. 5 men appeared suddenly, blocking the bus from moving. One of them, tall and cold-eyed, pulled her down. "Your father sent us," he said. His name was Saidu. Fear gripped Aisha. She struggled, but the men surrounded her. The bus conductor shouted for peace. Passengers murmured but did not interfere. They knew better than to involve themselves in Danladi family matters. The men dragged her to the small bus park office, claiming they would wait until morning. Aisha sat quietly in the corner, hugging her bag, praying for light to come. The small office at the bus park smelled of dust and sweat. Aisha sat on a wooden chair in the corner, her bag clutched to her chest. The men who claimed to be sent by her father sat near the door, whispering among themselves. Their leader, Saidu, never took his eyes off her. The office clerk pretended to shuffle papers, but Aisha saw the way his hands shook. Everyone in Kunu knew that when the Danladi family had problems, it was dangerous to interfere. Aisha whispered a silent prayer. "Let the morning come quickly." The men kept watch. Each time Aisha tried to close her eyes, she felt Saidu staring. His gaze was cold, like water that hides sharp stones. At one point, she thought she saw a shadow move in the far corner of the office. She heard a faint hiss. Her body shivered. But when she looked again, there was nothing. The night dragged on. At last, pale light touched the horizon. The men grew restless. Saidu stood, stretching his arms. "Come," he said. "We go home." But Aisha shook her head. "If my father sent you, then let me hear his voice. Call him now. Let the clerk and everyone here listen." The other men shifted uneasily. They had expected her to be weak, frightened, but her voice was firm. Saidu frowned, but before he could reply, the clerk interrupted. "She is right. If you truly act for her father, then prove it." Saidu glared at him, then pulled out a small phone. He stepped outside to make a call. The others stayed behind, watching Aisha. Minutes later, Saidu returned, face hard. "The bus will wait. She is going with us." But the clerk had seen enough. He quickly called a local lawyer who sometimes helped travellers at the park. The lawyer arrived before the men could move her. Voices were raised, questions asked. When the lawyer demanded that Baba Musa himself confirm the order, the men fell silent. Saidu clenched his fists but said nothing more. Finally, they left. Aisha's chest trembled with relief. She knew she had escaped for now. The bus engine roared to life. Aisha climbed back inside, her bag on her lap, her eyes wide open. Every bump on the road made her heart jump. But as the kilometers rolled away, Kunu became smaller in her mind. The journey took long hours. She watched the land change fields, giving way to towns, and towns to endless lines of houses. Lagos rose before her like another world, noisy, fast, crowded, alive. At the busy Oshodi bus stop, Aisha stepped down, dizzy from the heat and noise. People shouted destinations. Hawkers pushed food at her face. Cars and buses honked without end. "Agege! Agege!" a young conductor called, hanging from a yellow bus. His scarf was tied around his wrist. His name was Yusuf. He saw Aisha standing confused and walked closer. "Sister, where you dey go?" he asked in pidgin. Aisha hesitated. "Mama Keji's compound." Yusuf grinned. "Enter, I go drop you." She followed him, grateful for his kindness. At Mama Keji's compound, an old woman opened the gate. "Who you dey find?" she asked. "My mother," Aisha whispered. "Rahila." Moments later, Rahila appeared. Time had changed her, but her eyes were the same. When she saw Aisha, her hands flew to her mouth. Then she pulled her daughter into her arms. For a long time, neither spoke. Tears rolled freely. Finally, Rahila whispered, "I prayed for this day. My daughter is home." Aisha pressed her face against her mother's shoulder. For the first time in years, she felt safe. Days passed. Aisha began to adjust to the noise of Lagos. She helped her mother cook, fetch water, and sell vegetables at the market. At night, she and Rahila sat under the mango tree, speaking softly. But peace did not last. One evening, a sharp knock hit the gate. Yusuf stood outside, breathing hard. "Men are asking for a girl in blue wrapper," he said. "They carry picture." Rahila stiffened. "Zainab's hand is long," she muttered. "What do we do?" Aisha asked. Rahila looked at her daughter. "We move," but Aisha shook her head. "Running will not end this. We must face it." Yusuf led them to Mama Biliki's braiding shop. Women sat weaving hair, their hands quick like drums. They welcomed Aisha, hiding her among them. Minutes later, Saidu walked in with another man. His eyes scanned the room. "Your father wants you," he said. Mama Biliki crossed her arms. "Put him on speaker. Let us all hear." Saidu obeyed. Baba Musa's tired voice came through. Before he could speak much, another voice cut in smooth, soft, dangerous. "Zainab." "Come home, Aisha. You are bringing shame." Aisha's throat tightened. "If Baba wants me, he should come to Lagos. Let him hear truth with his own ears." The women in the shop murmured. Even Saidu looked unsettled. After a long silence, he said, "Then we will hear both sides." He left without force. 3 days later, Baba Musa arrived in Lagos with 2 elders. A meeting was held at the mosque hall near the market. The imam prayed. The fans hummed. Rahila stood first. She told of the lies that had chased her out of Kunu, of the whispers that made her daughter an outcast. Her voice was steady, her eyes bright. Then Aisha spoke. She told of the schoolyard bullying, the python, the ambush at the bus park, the escape. "All my life," she said, "people named me before I could name myself." The hall grew quiet. Finally, Saidu stood. To everyone's shock, he confessed. He said Zainab had offered money to bring Aisha back, by force if needed. He could not deny it anymore. Gasps filled the room. The elders looked at each other. Baba Musa lowered his head. "I have loved order more than truth," he said slowly. And that is not love. My daughter, forgive me. He reached for Aisha's hand, not to pat, but to hold. Tears filled Aisha's eyes. For the first time, her father called her his daughter in front of witnesses. The village feud was not over. A week later, a boy from Kunu arrived in Lagos with a message. If Aisha will not come back quietly, she will not live quietly. That night, Aisha felt a shiver crawl across her skin. The hiss echoed again in her ears, stronger, clearer. Something inside her stirred, something that had always been there but never fully shown itself. She realized then that the python was not only a protector, it was a part of her, and soon she would need it. Night came down on Lagos like a lid. The street behind Mama Kechi's compound was quiet. Aisha carried a small bowl of peppers back from the corner stall. The air was warm. A generator hummed somewhere far away. Then the sound cut. The street fell into complete silence. A cold shiver crawled over her skin. She stopped. 3 men stepped out from a dark alley. A 4th man stood behind them, breathing loud. Their faces were hard. Their hands were not empty. Aisha's heart slowed, then beat faster. She could not see Saidu among them, but she recognized Usman, the youngest. He did not lift his eyes. He looked ashamed. "Don't shout," one man said. "Walk." Aisha did not move. She glanced left and right. The compound wall was close, but not close enough. Her mind was alert. Her body felt strange and light, as if it could float. Then it came the sound she had heard since childhood, the sound that marked danger. A long, heavy hiss. It did not come from one place. It came from everywhere. It filled the whole street like a slow wave. The men froze. From the deep corner near the gutter, a shape pulled itself out of the dark. It was large, thick and smooth. Scales caught the faint light like small mirrors. It moved with slow power, circling the men. The giant python lifted its head and studied every face. The leader tried to be brave. He lifted a machete. His hand shook. The blade flashed once, then dropped and hit the ground with a metal cry. Usman whispered, "Run," to the others. No one listened. They were stuck, as if their ankles had learned to fear more than to move. The python moved closer. Its long body slid between Aisha and the men. It did not rush. It did not strike. It only came close enough for its presence to press the air flat. The men broke. They scattered and fell over each other. They ran without direction, bumping into bins, hitting their shoulders on walls. Usman did not run. He looked at Aisha. His lips moved soundlessly. Then he bowed his head and backed away. Slow, as if he was leaving a room where a king Saturday. Silence returned, broken only by Aisha's breath. The python lowered its head. One black eye met hers. The same calm eye from the empty classroom many years ago. The same calm eye from her dreams. For a long heartbeat, Aisha felt 2 things at once. She felt the ground under her feet. She also felt the ground under something larger, as if another body was touching the earth and sharing its weight with her. Then the great head dipped. The long body folded back into shadow. The street took the creature in like a friend. Aisha stood very still. Her knees wanted to give up. She put a hand on the wall and breathed until the world settled. Then she walked home, holding the bowl of peppers as if nothing had happened. Rahila was waiting at the gate. She did not ask what took so long. She looked at Aisha's face and understood. She brought her inside and shut the door. They sat under the mango tree. The moon was pale and thin. "Tell me what you felt," Rahila said. Aisha spoke slowly. "Cold inside, then heat, my ears filled with a sound. It was not outside, it was inside my head. My skin felt like it was not enough for me. Then the street changed. I could hear footsteps very far. I could smell the iron on their blades. And the python came." Rahila nodded. "You are old enough. You are strong enough. I should have said this earlier, but I was afraid of the world. I was afraid for you." Aisha watched her mother's face. There was no anger in her, only a long, tired love. Rahila touched Aisha's hand. "The night you were born, I knew the road in front of you would be hard. I knew there would be envy. I knew lies would follow you. I did not want your life to be eaten by fear. My own mother taught me a way to protect a child who will walk through fire. It is not magic like people think. It is not charm from a market. It is a skin, a spiritual skin that comes when danger comes. It covers you, it moves for you, it keeps you alive. When the danger is gone, it melts away." Aisha swallowed. Her mouth was dry. "Since the beginning, it has been the same one." "Yes," Rahila said. "It knows you. It answers when your fear becomes sharp. It does not belong to wickedness. It belongs to protection." Aisha looked at her own hands. They were small, clean, human, but somewhere in her blood, something old had learned to wake and watch. "Why did you never tell me?" she asked. "Because power without control can hurt the person who carries it," Rahila said. "You needed to learn patience. You needed to learn what pain feels like. You needed to know who your friends are when you have nothing to give. If I told you too early, you would live by the skin and not by your mind." Aisha nodded. She understood. She also felt something else, anger that someone had forced this secret to be necessary. "Zainab sent them," Aisha said. Again, Rahila's face hardened. "I believe so." "Then we must stop running," Aisha said. "We must end this." A knock sounded at the gate. Both women stood. Rahila picked up a wooden spoon. Aisha moved behind her. "Who is there?" Rahila called. "It is me," a voice said. "Saidu." Aisha and Rahila exchanged a look. Rahila opened the gate halfway, chain still on. Saidu stood outside, no one with him. He looked smaller in Lagos, like the city had rubbed his edges down. "I came to warn you," he said. "Men are gathering again in Kunu. Zainab is losing ground with the elders after what happened at the mosque. She is pushing harder. She will not stop until the village believes you are dangerous." Rahila kept the chain on. "Why should we trust you?" Saidu held her eyes. "Because I was wrong. Because I have a sister. Because last night a thing I cannot explain looked at me in a dream. It did not bite me. It only looked as if asking me what kind of man I want to be." He took a breath. "I am done carrying other people's evil." Aisha studied him. His hands were open at his sides. He was not playing tricks. He was just tired. "What should we do?" Aisha asked. "Go back," Saidu said. "Not to beg, to speak, to take your place. Do it before Zainab fills the air with more lies. If you wait, she will turn even your silence into a weapon." He stepped back from the gate. "I will not follow you to Kunu. I am not brave like that yet. But I will not lift my hand against you again." He left without another word. Rahila locked the gate and leaned against it. "We always knew this day would come," she said. Aisha nodded, but she did not move. Her body was calm. Her mind was a river with two currents. One current was fear, the other was something like excitement. The fight would be open now. No more hiding. The next morning, Yusuf came with a small bag of oranges. He had heard things at the motor park. He always heard things first. "Men are whispering about Kunu," he said. "About your family. Some say there will be a meeting. Some say there will be fire." Rahila thanked him and pressed bread into his hand. Aisha walked him to the gate. "I may travel soon," she said. He nodded. "I figured. You have the look of someone who is done with running. Will you watch the house?" "I will. Lagos watches too," he said with a small smile. "It has many eyes." When he left, Aisha turned to Rahila. "Teach me more." Rahila took her hand. They sat on mats inside, away from the heat. Rahila taught her how to breathe when the world closes in. Slow breath in, slow breath. She showed her how to listen with more than ears, how to feel the small changes in air, the way danger makes it heavy. They practiced for hours. Aisha learned how to calm her racing heart so that fear could not use it to control her. She learned how to sharpen fear into alertness and then into choice. By evening, her body felt both tired and new. "You do not need to call it," Rahila said, meaning the skin. "It knows when to come. You only need to keep your mind steady so it does not come wild. You are not a passenger. You are the one who decides." Aisha rubbed her palms together. "I am ready, almost," Rahila said. "There is one more thing." She went into the room and returned with a small tin box. Inside was a thin strip of cloth with a scaled pattern. It was old but strong. "My mother gave me this," Rahila said. "I hid it when I left Kunu. I kept it in case the day arrived when the truth had to stand in the open. Pin it to your inner wrapper when you travel. It will help your mind stay clear." Aisha touched the cloth. It felt warm, as if it had been waiting for her for a long time. 2 nights later, Usman came quietly to the compound. He removed his cap and held it with both hands. He could not meet Aisha's eyes. "I am sorry," he said. "I followed them because I needed money. I am ashamed. I will not follow them again." Aisha looked at his face. He was young. Fear had made him do ugly things, but fear had also brought him here. She nodded once. "Go home," she said. "Do not come near Zainab's men again." He nodded and left, shoulders shaking. Rahila closed the door and turned to her daughter. "You see, even the small ones are changing. The world is not black and white, but it can be made better if we stand." Aisha packed her bag that night. She did not take much: a wrapper, a blouse, the cloth strip, a small bottle of water. She put the rest of her life inside her chest and zipped it. She lay down and tried to sleep, but sleep came in pieces. Images flickered behind her eyelids: schoolyard dust, a shaking machete, a calm eye, a hall with fans, her father's head bowed, Zainab's tight mouth, a long road leading home. Before dawn, she woke fully. The sky was still grey. She sat up and tied the cloth inside her wrapper. She listened. The city breathed around her, wide and fast. Somewhere a rooster tried to compete with a generator. She smiled. Rahila came out with 2 cups of hot tea. They sat on the steps and drank slowly. "Today?" Rahila asked. "Today?" Aisha said. They did not need many words. They had carried the same weight for years. Now they would carry it the last distance together. At the motor park, the bus to the north filled quickly. Yusuf found them seats by the window. He lifted their small bags as if they were heavier than they looked. He held Aisha's hand a second too long, then grinned and let go. "Go and come back," he said. "Bring peace with you." Aisha nodded. "We will try." The bus groaned, then moved. Lagos slid away, still talking, still alive. The road opened like a long scar across the land. Aisha leaned her head on the window and watched the country pass. Fields, rivers, towns with tired signs. Her reflection in the glass looked older. It also looked ready. She felt the strip of cloth against her side. She felt the soft pull under her skin, the one that meant she was not going alone. She closed her eyes and breathed, slow in, slow out. The village of Kunu waited ahead, full of old shadows and new light. Aisha did not know exactly how the day would end. She only knew this: the time for hiding was finished. The time for taking back what was hers had come. The bus rolled into Kunu at noon. The sun sat high and hot over the mud houses and narrow streets. Dust rose with every footstep. People paused at their doorways to watch the newcomers climb down with small bags. Aisha adjusted her wrapper. Rahila stood beside her. They walked toward the Dunladi compound without hiding. Children whispered and followed at a distance. Women with water pots slowed and stared. Old men shaded their eyes with their hands. At the compound gate, 2 guards blocked the way. "Stop," one said, shifting his weight. Rahila's voice was calm. "Tell your master that Rahila and her daughter have returned." The guard hesitated, then sent a small boy to call. Moments later, Baba Musa appeared on the veranda. He looked thinner, older. When he saw them, he came down the steps slowly, as if he was not sure the ground would hold. "Let them in," he said. The guard stepped aside. Aisha and Rahila entered the wide courtyard. The air smelled of cooked millet and wood smoke. In the far corner, sacks of grain were stacked against a wall. Aisha saw places she remembered from childhood. The mango tree that had once been taller than her fears, the well where gossip used to float like foam. Inside the sitting room, fans turned lazily. A long sofa waited like a test. Zainab stood near the window, wrapped in a bright lace. Her lips were tight. Her eyes were cold. "So," she said, "the city has taught you pride." Aisha met her gaze. "The city taught me to breathe." Baba Musa raised a hand. "We will speak with elders," he said. Today, word spread fast. By late afternoon, the elders gathered under the big tamarind tree in the square. Men sat on benches. Women stood behind, whispering. The smell of dust and sweat hung in the heat. A boy fanned the embers of a small fire, keeping flies away. The oldest elder cleared his throat. "We are here to settle Dunladi matters. We will hear all sides." Rahila spoke first. She told how she was pushed from the house years ago, how lies were planted to stain a child who had done nothing. She did not shout. She did not decorate her words. She named events and dates like a line of stones across a stream. Then Aisha stood. She told her story in a straight line. The bullying at school, the night ambush at the bus park, the Lagos meeting, the threats that followed, the shadow that saved her more than once. She kept her voice even. She did not invite pity. She asked for truth. Murmurs moved through the crowd. Some nodded, some rolled their eyes. Fear and memory fought quietly in people's faces. The elders called Saidu. He stepped forward in a plain shirt. He lifted his eyes and spoke steady. He admitted to taking money to grab Aisha. He said who pushed it. He did not say Zainab's name, but the story pointed to her door like a finger. The elders called Usman. He came with shaking hands. He confirmed what happened in Lagos, his head bowed. "I was wrong," he said. "I will not be used again." A tall man from the storehouses came next. He brought a ledger with shaky stitching. He opened it. His finger traced numbers. Some bags of grain had gone missing over years. The holes lined up with the times Zainab's brother handled sales. The ledger did not shout. It only showed. The oldest elder looked at Baba Musa. "What do you say?" Baba Musa's voice was rough. "I allowed fear to lead me. I will repair what can be repaired." He turned to Aisha. "You are my daughter. You will not be called curse in this village again." The crowd stirred. Some clapped softly. Some stood still. Zainab stepped forward, shaking with anger. "You will throw away your home because of city talk and a girl who brings snakes to schools?" She shouted. "What about the night wind when she was born? What about the plates that broke, the goats that died? Do you want to destroy this family?" The oldest elder raised a hand. "Enough." Zainab looked around and saw the ground moving under her feet. She turned and walked away fast, lay swishing like anger on the floor. The elder struck his staff once on the dirt. "Hear the decision," he said. "From today, Rahila and Aisha are restored in this house. The storehouses will be audited. The men who carried out violence will face the law of the community. This matter is closed in the Sunday." People dispersed slowly. Some came to touch Aisha's hand. Some looked at her like she had just arrived from the moon. Children peeped from behind legs and then ran when she glanced their way. Aisha stood straight. The wind felt different. It did not push. It passed and went on. Night fell early, heavy and close. The sky was full of stars. Lanterns burned in the compound like small moons. Aisha and Rahila sat outside with Baba Musa. They ate quietly. The food tasted simple and clean. Inside, the house was calmer than Aisha remembered. But calm is not the same thing as safe. Near midnight, feet moved in the dark beyond the wall. Shadows stacked on shadows. 7 men slid through the side gate with a key someone had given them long ago. They carried machetes wrapped in cloth. One carried a small bottle of petrol. None of them spoke. They crept to the kitchen hut and poured the liquid along the wall. A match cracked. Fire leaped up the mud like a climbing animal. Flames licked the roof, then coughed and spread. Aisha woke to the smell before the first shout. The cloth inside her wrapper warmed, as if answering to a call. Her heart slowed, then steadied. She stood. Rahila was already up. She grabbed a bucket and ran. Aisha did not grab anything. She walked into the courtyard barefoot, eyes searching the dark. The fire threw moving light across the walls. It painted the men as dancing shadows. "Water!" a guard yelled. "Wake up!" Men stumbled from their rooms to form a line, passing buckets. Sparks flew, dry leaves popped, the kitchen door crackled. Aisha felt the air change. It grew heavy at her cheekbones. Her hearing became clear and long. She could count footsteps beyond the fire line. She heard the small shake inside a man's wrist. A hiss opened the night. It did not come from the burning hut. It did not come from the wall. It came from everywhere at once, deep and layered, like a drum that had learned to breathe. Men froze. Buckets stopped. Even the fire seemed to listen. From the dark at the far end of the compound, the python uncoiled and slid across the ground, scales catching firelight, head steady and high. It moved with slow strength, drawing a wide circle around the men with machetes. They stood trapped inside a ring of living muscle. One man tried to lift his weapon. The blade touched his shoulder and fell. His knees forgot how to lock. He dropped with a small cry. Another man turned to run and hit the wall with his chest. He bounced off and lay still, eyes open, mouth open, courage gone. The leader forced sound through his teeth. "It's a trick," he said, but the words came out like a plea. The python shifted closer. Its eye met his. The man's jaw trembled. His machete clanged to the ground. He began to sob without tears. Outside the ring, Rahila stood with a bucket in her hands, watching. Her face held no fear, only focus. She looked from the fire to the men, weighing which danger to end first. She moved toward the flames and poured water along the edge, pushing the heat back. Baba Musa stepped beside her, grabbing the next bucket, passing it fast. Guards followed. The fire weakened, coughed again, and gave up its climb. Inside the ring, the men had no fight left. They dropped their weapons one by one. "Open the gate," Aisha said quietly. 2 guards ran to swing it wide. Saidu appeared there, breathless. He had come when he saw the glow against the sky. He took in the scene the fallen men, the crushed fire, the giant circle of scaled power, and he did not move. The python turned its head slowly and looked at him. He bowed his head, not from shame this time, but from respect. "Take them," Aisha said to the guards. "Bind their hands. They will answer to the elders in the morning." The men did not resist. They walked with stumbling feet, eyes on the ground, as if the soil would open and swallow them. When the last one had gone through the gate, the python lowered its head. It slid across the yard in a long, smooth line, passing close to Aisha, then close to Rahila. It paused, as if listening to something that was not sound. Then it disappeared into the dark beyond the compound wall. The night closed behind it like a curtain. Silence landed. Only the small crackle of dying fire remained. Rahila set down the bucket. She walked to Aisha and touched her shoulder. "Are you hurt?" "No," Aisha said. Baba Musa approached slowly, eyes wet. "I have seen many things," he said, voice thin. "But tonight I saw truth clean and plain." Aisha looked at him. "Truth is simple," she said. Fear made it complicated. They stood together until the air cooled. Guards checked the walls. Women swept ash away from doorways. Little by little, the house remembered how to breathe. Morning came with clear light. The square filled again. The bound men sat on the ground, heads low. People talked, louder than yesterday, braver than yesterday. The elders arrived, faces tight and tired. The leader of the attackers tried to speak. He pointed at Zainab, who stood behind the crowd, jaw tight. He told who gave orders, who handed keys, who promised to erase witnesses. He told everything. Fear had made him work at night. Daylight made him spit it out. The elders listened. They did not shout. They passed judgment. The men were punished according to village law. Zainab was removed from all decisions concerning the house and the storehouses. She was told to leave the Danladi compound and return to her father's home until further notice. Her eyes burned as she walked away. No one reached out to stop her. The oldest elder lifted his staff. "Hear our word," he said. Rahila and Aisha stand in their rightful place. No one will call them curse again. If harm comes to them, the one who tries will answer to all of us. People clapped, some with both hands, some with relief. Children laughed, high and bright, like the air had become lighter. Baba Musa put his staff in Aisha's hands. It felt heavy and right. "Help me lead this house," he said. "With fairness, with clean numbers, with clear doors." "I will," Aisha said. They walked back to the compound through streets that felt new, even though nothing had moved but people's eyes. That evening the village quieted early, as if the day had used all the words. Rahila and Aisha sat under the mango tree. The sky turned deep blue. A soft wind touched their faces. "Mother," Aisha said, voice low, "I need to say it out loud." Rahila nodded. "Say it." Aisha looked at the gate, at the wall, at the dark place where the python had slipped away. "All my life I waited for someone to tell me who I am. Today I am done waiting." She took a breath. "The python that saves me is not a stranger. It is me. It is the skin you gave me on the night I was born. It is my body when danger comes. It is my breath when death tries to enter. I am not a curse. I am not bad luck. I am Aisha Danladi, and I will protect this house." Rahila smiled with tired pride. "You do not need permission to be yourself." They sat together until stars filled the sky. Somewhere beyond the wall, a long, calm hiss answered not to frighten, not to threaten, but to promise. Kunu slept. The Danladi compound breathed. And for the first time, since the night she opened her eyes to a restless world, Aisha slept without fear. Moral of the story: do not let fear or lies decide your life. Power used to protect is not a curse. Stand for the truth, guard your name, and take back the place that belongs to you.